Okay, so are you ready to dive into a story? It's less about calm waters and more about navigating a murky psychological labyrinth. We're unpacking a case that reads like a true crime thriller. Diary entries, police reports, and even therapy session transcripts, all just offering these fragmented glimpses into this world of love, betrayal, and a very blurred line between justice and revenge.
What's captivating about this case, at least from a psychological perspective, is how each document reveals a layer of subjectivity. I mean, we're challenged to piece together this cohesive narrative from these individual perspectives. It's like assembling a puzzle, right?
Yeah.
Where the pieces don't always fit so neatly.
Right. And like any good mystery, this one starts with a compelling character. We're introduced to Simon Dobius. He's a law professor at a prestigious Chicago university, but Simon, you'll soon discover, carries a heavy past.
It's interesting, actually. Simon's specialty is Fourth Amendment rights. He focuses on government surveillance and individual liberties, which becomes, well, quite ironic given the events in his own life. Would you agree?
Ironic is an understatement. Years before we find him in the thick of this case, Simon experienced a profound tragedy, the unsolved murder of his father. Talk about a ghost hanging over your life. But here's where the story takes a turn. Simon reconnects with his former flame, Lauren Lemoyne Betancourt.
Now, Lauren has crafted this seemingly perfect life, you see. Married to a wealthy investor, a man named Conrad, and residing in the affluent suburb of Grace Village. Their paths, though, they first intertwined years ago at Simon's father's law firm, actually. She was a young paralegal, and he, of course, was a college student.
Okay, so we have that classic allure of forbidden love rekindled, old flames, a dash of nostalgia, and suddenly they're entangled in a full-blown affair.
And it's crucial to remember, though, that affairs are built on a foundation of deceit and hidden agendas. And this is where Simon's wife, Vicky, enters the picture.
On the surface, Vicky appears to be, a quintessential unassuming housewife. But you know what they say about appearances?
They can be deceiving.
Exactly.
The diary entries, they're attributed to Vicky, and they paint a very different picture of their marriage. Through her words, we encounter a woman who is far from naive. In fact, she possesses this sharp intellect, a keen awareness of her surroundings, and secrets, her own secrets.
Okay, so we have secrets simmering beneath the surface, this tangled past, and the looming shadow of a murder. The question is, what exactly is Vicky hiding?
Well, the diary entries hint at a connection to someone named Christian Newsom, a financial advisor. He's the kind of smooth talker who promises the moon and the stars, but delivers something. Let's just say his promises often come with strings attached.
And it seems Christian has sunk his teeth into Vicky's financial affairs, guiding her on how to secure a significant sum of money from her marriage, from Simon. It sounds like Vicky is playing a long game here, waiting for the opportune moment to make her move.
See, what's cunning about Vicky's strategy is its reliance on the legal intricacies of their marriage. You see, timing is everything in these situations, and a divorce right before their 10th anniversary, well, that would grant Vicky access to a substantial portion of Simon's trust fund.
It's almost as if she studied the legal playbook, and now she's using it to orchestrate her own game.
Indeed. She's demonstrating a very astute understanding of how to leverage legal loopholes for personal gain. But, as with any meticulously crafted plan, there's always the risk of unforeseen consequences. The question is, will Vicky be able to maintain control when those consequences come knocking?
And here's where our story takes a sharp turn, plunging us headfirst into the darkness, right into the heart of this seemingly idyllic town, Lauren Betancourt. She's found murdered in her Grace Village home.
And the death of Lauren. Well, it really shatters the peaceful facade of Grace Village, you see, exposing all the secrets and deceptions, the ones lurking beneath the surface. And the crime scene itself, it's particularly intriguing.
You're telling me the police reports, they detail burner phones, which hint, of course, at a clandestine affair, and a cryptic text message that seems to be from a heartbroken lover. It's like something straight out of a crime drama, honestly.
Precisely. But what's most fascinating here is the meticulous staging of the crime scene, the blood trail. Well, it doesn't quite align with the narrative the killer is trying to create. It's a detail that might be easily overlooked. But for those who, let's say, appreciate the intricacies of forensic evidence, well, it sets off alarm bells.
It's like the killer wanted to make it look like one thing, but they slipped up, leaving behind this clue, one that doesn't quite fit. And naturally, the police. Well, they turn their attention to Simon.
Of course. I mean, he's the seemingly obvious choice, right? A past connection to Lauren,
Yeah.
whispers of a troubled marriage. It all paints him as a potential suspect.
Right.
But remember, we're dealing with a man whose life's work, it revolves around understanding the intricacies of the law.
Right. He's not going to be easily fooled by a simple frame-up, but...
If Simon isn't responsible for Lauren's death, then who is? Well, as the investigation unfolds, the police, they uncover some unsettling truths about our financial advisor, Christian Newsom. It seems his carefully constructed persona, well, it's just that, a fabrication.
Oh, you mean he's not the financial guru he claims to be? Color me shocked.
Not quite. It turns out Christian Newsom is actually Mick Karachi, a con man with a talent for disappearing and reinventing himself. We're talking about a master manipulator, someone who preys on vulnerable individuals, exploiting their trust for his own personal gain.
So, we had a murder, a false identity, and this web of relationships. That seemed, well, more and more entangled. Where does Vicky fit into all of this? I mean, she always seemed like the one pulling the strings. But could she be involved in something, well, something as sinister as murder?
That's the question that unravels in this next chapter of the story, you see. As the police delve deeper into Vicky's past, they unearth a tragic event, one that sheds light on her motivations.
Okay, let's talk about Vicky's past. What happened? What could have happened that would lead her down such a dark path?
Well, we learn about her sister, Monica. She died tragically from a drug overdose. But here's the crucial detail. Monica was involved with a man, and this man bears a striking resemblance to Christian, both in his methods and his ruthlessness.
So, are we seeing a pattern here? Could Vicky be trying to prevent history from repeating itself, protecting Simon from suffering the same fate as her sister?
There's definitely a sense of déjà vu in Vicky's actions. She's haunted by the memory of her sister's demise, you see, driven by a desire to right past wrongs. And remember those therapy transcripts we mentioned earlier?
The ones where Simon talks about his father's infidelity.
Exactly. In those sessions, Simon recounts this pivotal moment from his youth, confronting his father. After discovering the affair with Lauren, and this confrontation, it reveals a deep-seated loyalty within Simon, a loyalty to his mother, one that resonates strongly with Vicky's own sense of familial duty.
So, both Vicky and Simon have witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of infidelity and manipulation. It's a shared experience that binds them together, but could it also be driving them toward a dangerous collision course?
Indeed. What we see unfolding here is a complex interplay of grief, anger, and a yearning for justice. As the muzzle pieces fall into place, Vicky's true objective, it becomes terrifyingly clear. This isn't about money, it's about revenge.
Wait, so she's targeting Christian, the man she holds responsible for her sister's downfall. But how does Simon play into all of this?
That's the brilliance of Vicky's plan, you see. She masterfully manipulates Simon, exploiting his guilt over his father's past actions and his growing dissatisfaction with their marriage. She's weaving a narrative, one that positions Simon as the prime suspect in Lauren's murder.
You're saying she's framing him, setting him up to take the fall for a crime she's orchestrating.
Precisely. Remember that meticulously staged crime scene? The blood trail that didn't quite add up. Those were all carefully calculated moves on Vicky's part, designed to mislead the investigation and direct the police toward Simon. She's playing both sides, masterfully manipulating everyone around her to achieve her own twisted sense of justice.
So, we have a con man living a lie, a grieving sister seeking retribution, and an unsuspecting law professor caught in the crossfire. Where does this intricate web of deceit ultimately lead?
To a thrilling climax, where truth and deception collide, where the lines between justice and revenge, well, they become increasingly blurred.
Okay. You've got me on the edge of my seat here. What happens next? This is where the case takes its most unexpected turn. I have to admit, I really didn't see this coming at all.
It's not the police who unravel Vicky's carefully constructed facade. It's Simon himself.
You're saying Simon, the law professor whose entire expertise centers around protecting individual rights. He figures out he's being framed by his own wife.
Precisely. Simon, armed with this understanding of the law.
And, well, fueled by growing suspicion toward Vicky's actions, he begins to piece together the truth. He uncovers her intricate plan, exposing the depths of her deception. Wow. That must have been a crushing realization for him, to discover that the woman he loved, the woman he vowed to protect, was capable of such calculated manipulation.
Just imagine the internal conflict Simon must have grappled with. the weight of his moral compass pulling him in one direction, while his love for Vicky pulled him in another.
It's a classic Shakespearean dilemma, isn't it? Loyalty versus justice.
So, what does Simon do with this newfound knowledge? I mean, does he turn Vicky in, exposing her role in all of this, or does he choose to protect her, allowing her to just slip away into the shadows?
That's the question, isn't it? That's the question that hangs over this final act. The source material provides a subtle clue, a breadcrumb trail, if you will, in one of Simon's therapy session transcripts.
Okay, I'm all ears. What does the transcript reveal? Simon mentions liquidating his trust fund, distributing the millions to various charities, organizations dedicated to supporting stroke victims, suicide prevention, and combating domestic violence.
Those causes, they seem carefully chosen, almost as if they hold a deeper significance.
Exactly. They align with the very tragedies that have shaped both Simon and Vicky's lives. Simon's father's stroke, Monica's fatal overdose, and the pervasive cycle of manipulation that has haunted both their families.
It's like he's trying to atone for the sins of the past, both his own and those of the people he loved.
Perhaps. Or maybe it's his way of honoring their memories, of ensuring that something positive emerges from the darkness that has consumed their lives.
So, we're left with more questions than answers. Did Simon help Vicky escape? Did she ever truly face justice for her actions? And what does this say about the nature of justice itself?
That's the beauty of this case, wouldn't you say? It doesn't offer any easy answers or tidy resolutions. It challenges us to confront the gray areas of morality, the space where love and betrayal, justice and revenge, well, they become inextricably intertwined.
This deep dive, it's taken us on a winding journey. We started with a seemingly straightforward case of infidelity, and we ended up exploring the complexities of grief, manipulation, and the lengths to which people will go to protect themselves and those they love.
It's a story that lingers long after the final page is turned, It prompts us to question our own definitions.
All right.
Justice and forgiveness.
If there's one thing we can take away from this twisted tale, it's that truth. Truth is often far more complex and nuanced than we initially perceive it to be. And, sometimes, the most satisfying endings are the ones that leave us with more questions than answers.
As with any truly compelling mystery, it's the unresolved threads, the whispers of what if, the things that keep us engaged long after the story has ended. It's in those unanswered questions that we often find the most profound truths.
So, as we resurface from this deep dive, let's carry with us the understanding that the human experience, it's a tapestry of contradictions and complexities, and perhaps in those complexities we can find a renewed appreciation for the power of empathy, forgiveness, and the enduring strength of the human spirit.
Indeed, because in the end, it's often in the shadows, in the spaces between certainty and ambiguity, that we discover the most compelling truths about ourselves and the world around us